Let us start with a short story. Many years ago, in a small village called Kishanpur, lived two friends, Danu and Mishri. Danu's father worked on a fishing boat. Danu's mother sold the fish at the village market. Danu's parents were not interested in sending Danu to school. They wanted him to grow big and strong quickly to help them with catching and selling fish. Mishri's parents worked as farm laborers on paddy fields. Mishri's parents wanted Mishri to study and make a good career for herself. So while Mishri started going to the village school, Danu spent all his time roaming around in the village. Mishri's parents took her to the doctor every time she was sick. Danu's parents could not afford good medical care for him, and he developed a chronic liver disease. In a few years, Mishri completed her schooling and went on to take a vocational course or training in computer applications. Danu, on the other hand, kept too sick to even get trained as a fisherman. Today, Mishri earns a good salary working in an office in a nearby city. Danu makes a meager living selling fish in the village market. Both Danu and Mishri came from the same village and from quite similar family backgrounds. So, why is Mishri's present situation far better than Danu's? The three things that made Mishri achieve a better position in life than Danu are education, good health care, and training. Uneducated, untrained, and unhealthy people like Danu are a nation's liability. Such people find it difficult to care for themselves and can do little for society. On the other hand, educated, trained, and healthy people like Mishri are an asset to the nation. These people not only make a good life for themselves, but they also contribute to the betterment of society. Education, good medical care, and training are the three investments that transform people into assets or resources. Such educated, healthy, and well-trained people constitute the human resource or human capital of a nation. India's rising population is often seen as a problem. It is considered a liability to provide such a large number of people with food, education, health care, and skills. However, the fact that an educated, skilled, and healthy population contributes tremendously to a nation's productivity is often overlooked. In fact, the investment made in educating and training people and providing them with health care is more than recovered by the higher productivity of a healthy, skilled workforce. Great importance is attached to resources like land and physical capital like money and machines. However, imagine what would happen to these resources without human capital. Without human capital, resources like land and machines would be of no use and just waste away. This is because human resources put other resources to productive use, and not the other way around. The difference that investment in education, medical care, and training makes to human resources is evident in all production sectors, including agriculture. The Green Revolution in India is a direct result of better knowledge and techniques provided to farmers. For many industries like the IT industry, skilled manpower or human capital is more valuable than machines and equipment. India's IT industry is a good example of how a largely human resource-based industry can make a significant contribution to the country's gross domestic product or GDP. Japan is another good example of a country that has achieved great success by investing on the education and health of its people. The efficiency and technological skills of the Japanese are evident by the fact that Japan exports more than it imports despite being poor in natural resources. Compare Japan's story with some countries in Africa that are enormously rich in natural resources but have largely uneducated and unskilled populations. These countries are the poorest nations in the world. Any child with an investment in education, medical care and training can become a useful human resource. The responsibility to make a child a useful human resource rests with the parents. Educated parents are more inclined to spend on their child's education, healthcare and training. The child who grows up to be a good human resource similarly takes care of his children. This forms a virtuous cycle. On the other hand, uneducated parents are less inclined to invest on their child's education and healthcare. The child who grows up with such disadvantages tends to keep his children in similar deprived conditions, creating a vicious cycle to produce poor human resources. You are in school, which shows that your parents are willing to invest in your education. It is your responsibility to work hard too. Choose a vocation that interests you and become useful human capital for your country. If you look around, you will see that people work in different professions. But why do people work? People work to generate income to be able to provide for themselves and their families. Just like an individual, the government of a country also needs to generate income to look after its population and carry on works of public interest, nation building and international trade. The national income of a country is measured by its gross domestic product, or GDP, which is the total value of all the goods and services produced in the country in a year. The different activities that people carry out to create goods and services, which contribute towards the national income, are called economic activities. Economic activities can be classified based on their nature and purpose. Based on their nature, the economic activities can be classified into three sectors: primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sector. Based on their purpose, economic activities can be classified as market activities and non-market activities. The primary sector economic activities are agriculture and forestry, animal husbandry, fishing, poultry farming, and mining. The secondary sector economic activities include quarrying or mining of stone slabs and manufacturing of goods. The tertiary sector economic activities include trade, transport, communication, banking, insurance, education, healthcare, and tourism. The economic activities performed with the purpose of generating income or profit are called market activities. Market activities include the production of goods and services for customers and salaried jobs. The economic activities performed with the purpose of producing or gathering things for self-consumption are called non-market activities. Non-market activities include small-scale farming, fishing, gathering jungle produce, and processing raw food by cooking. Note that agriculture is an example of both market and non-market activity. Agriculture on a large scale, where a farmer produces enough for himself and is left with a surplus to sell and make a profit, is a market activity. However, agriculture on a small scale just to feed the farmer and his family is a non-market activity. Now let us look at the kind of economic activities performed by men and women. These are a little different, as traditionally we have separate roles defined for men and women in a family. In our society, men are expected to go out and work to earn money and provide for the family. Women are generally expected to stay at home and look after household chores like cooking, cleaning, washing, and looking after the children. The men get paid for the work they do. Their work contributes to the national income. However, the women never get paid for the hard, back-breaking housekeeping work they do. Their work does not contribute to the national income. Times have changed now, though. Today, women also go out, work, and get paid just like men. How much a person can earn depends on his or her education and vocational skills. A large number of women with poor education and skills are employed in the unorganized sector doing manual labor like rolling incense sticks, making matches, and picking tea leaves. This has several disadvantages. The main disadvantages for women employed in the unorganized sector are less wages than men, low and irregular income, no job security and legal protection, and absence of basic facilities like maternity leave, medical care, and child care. However, women with higher education and advanced skills secure high-paying jobs as teachers, doctors, and administrative officers in the organized sector. In jobs in the organized sector, women get paid at par with their male colleagues and enjoy all the benefits of a secure job. In line with the modern Indian philosophy of providing equal opportunities to men and women, the highest public post of the President of India is occupied by a woman, Srimati Pratibha Devi Singh Patil. Education, healthcare, and training make a population an asset to a country. Thus, these are the three factors that determine the quality of a nation's population. Uneducated, untrained, and unhealthy people find it difficult to take care of themselves and can do little for society. Thus, they are a nation's liability.